Saturday Night Racing League Cup Series. What a finish!
It's too little, too late from behind, and Sebastian Marin, your first repeat top split winner of the qualifying series.
We knew it was just a matter of time when Hunter Sr. is victorious.
Josh Adams taking the win at Iowa.
GC Spider Motorsports takes home the 1-2-3 finish.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Introducing Tractor USA, the best way to buy and sell premium ag and construction equipment. Tractor USA was designed to be straightforward, simple, and affordable with zero commission and live auctions every week. Tractor USA auctions offer the finest selection of pre-owned tractors, combines, and other ag and construction equipment from across the United States and the world. Simply go to tractorusa.com to get started today.
Walking and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time, so I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
In Mobile, Alabama, there's a track that is faster than Daytona, bigger than Daytona, and it brings some of the best racing you'll see all season. So it's only fitting that we'll start week number 1, season number 6 of the Chase at Talladega Superspeedway. Live here tonight for Saturday Night Racing League. It's the Project Grace for Kids 250. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside Connor Horn. Connor, we've witnessed racing at all of the venues, pretty much every variety of racetrack that you could have. But this place is going to take the cake. We could see a first-time winner this season.
We've seen first-time winners a lot as of late at this track. Last 2 races, we've come to this track. Donald Kite got his one and only victory at Talladega. That was in a next-gen car. That was over a year ago. And back in December in Season 5, Roger Lavick won a controversial race at Talladega in the Gen 4 car by about 1.5 seconds. Probably the biggest distance between first and second you'll ever see at Talladega. It usually comes down to a 2-3, maybe even 4-wide photo finish, but it all comes down to that final lap. You know, anything can happen. It did for Lavick on that day. We could see 3 first-time winners in a row. We could see someone who's won here before maybe go to victory lane. If there is former winners in this race. There isn't Bailey Turner. Adam Cabot would go for 3 in a row if he was here, but he's not. So we'll see if Bailey Turner can get the victory, or see if Roger Vaclavic can get the victory. He'll be in the race tonight as well. Everyone knows how Talladega is, 2.66 mile track, very high banking, 33 degrees. Got 16 degrees on the front stretch as well. Very long pit lane entry, tough to get in there with a big group, everyone hitting each other. That might be something we look at, and obviously the start finish line all the way down past the tri-oval, unlike pretty much every other track.
Yeah, that's the unique characteristic. I think that's why we saw one of the closest finishes in VSPEED history in the Challenger Series there last year. It was 2 1/1000ths of a second across the line in a 3-wide battle. So I think in this B car, we're going to see a product of that in the draft. Talk about that, Connor. How difficult is it to navigate around this place? I know it's easier to pass. You can go 3 wide a lot of the time. Pretty easy to do so. But the draft, it's so hard in this B car to keep the momentum.
Yeah, since they updated it, it is a little bit more tough to make track position. It's very easy to get single file and make time, but it's realistic, which is good because iRacing is supposed to be a simulator, but tough in the sense that in the real life package, it's kind of hard to make moves unless you have help. And if, once you get to the end of the race, everyone's 2-3 wide, you kind of get stuck and you really have nowhere to go. Side draft is very strong. If someone pins it to your door, it sucks you up to their left side door and there could be contact. That's where the big one could happen. And it's just so hard to get any sort of run, any sort of momentum if you don't have that draft. That's a tough thing to deal with as well. You can have a huge 5-10 mile an hour run. Once you poke out of the draft, your run completely goes away. So difficult to get any sort of momentum going. So that's going to be tough for a lot of drivers today. Track position is going to matter a lot more than it used to. Remember, we haven't driven this car here in about 2 seasons, I believe. Season 3, actually. So 3 seasons. So this is new to everyone who ran season 3. It's a completely different package. It's going to race differently. Also, bump drafting, very tough. Can't do that very easily turn someone if you're not directly on their bumpers. You look at the chase standings. No AJ Stravado. He was seeded 3rd with 3 wins, so he won't be here tonight. Bailey Turner, Kenny Kibbe, they're all here. Jeff Wright, who's still probably the favorite with a league high 6 wins, but he's back 18 points, seeded 7th.
Yeah, and all those DNFs that Jeff Wright had, whether it was a computer issue or just plain bad luck, taken out of a couple races as well. So if he wasn't up front and dominating the day, he wasn't on the racetrack anymore. But with this, we're going to take you to the track and get the grid up on the screen. Starting on the top position here tonight will be the previous winner, Bailey Turner, looking to find his way back to victory lane. He will start with Caleb Weekly on the outside. Very close lap times, almost tied identical. I think it was down to 10,000ths of a second that they measured it here. Row number 2 is going to belong to J.R. Shepard. Joshua Banks will start in 4th. 5th spot to go to Floyd. Lots of prayers out to Floyd. Casey Lakatos will start in 6th. Seth Hatchell will start 7th spot with Chad Klinger in 8th. And 9th spot's going to go to Philip Brewers. It looks like the pace car is pulling off. We're going to go underway here very quickly, so we'll keep the grid up on your screen. But here we go for the first race of the chase. Saturday Night Racing League live from Talladega with 27 cars, 94 laps, 250 miles. Green flag is out and we're underway. I thought it was going to be Caleb Weekly leading lap 1, but he got shuffled out. It's going to be Joshua Banks in the 35. Weekly got stuck there 3 wide. He falls back to around the 9th position. Tough break there for the driver in the 13, but a lot of shuffling around. Looks like this car is pretty turbulent.
It's going to be turbulent, and the tire wear is going to matter a little bit. Not as much as it would at Atlanta, but it will still matter For sure, and that's one thing different about this package. Before these O'Reilly cars got updated, if you got hung out in the middle on your own, you could still make time, and it really didn't hurt you that much. But now, if you have no one behind you and everyone in the middle lane decides, no, I don't want to push you, and goes to the third lane, you're going to go to the back of the field. That's exactly what happened to Caleb Weekly. Did find a place in line in the middle, fourth in line, but went from leading lap 1 to barely inside the top 8, and good for Joshua Banks to be leading. Had an injury. I think he said he had an injury at work, has a broken toe he's racing through. So it's probably the best track he could go to after an injury like that is Talladega, because not a lot of gas. Well, a lot of gas, but not a lot of brake. You're not really pushing your foot down on the brake a lot. I did not know which foot it was, but at least he's not having to work the pedals a lot tonight.
You're sitting back here riding on board with J.R. Shepard in 8th position. You're lifting on and off the throttle. You're modulating a ton to not run into the car in front of you. You saw the inside line fall apart a little bit. Joshua Banks fell back. Lacatus on the outside with the 09 of Klinger. But they stayed to the outside. That's what's surprising to me. In case Lacatus had the lead, could have dropped down. He chose to stay to the outside. That makes me believe that the outside's where you want to be right now.
I think part of that is obviously the outside line. You get a run off the corner, and you can carry that through the tri-oval, down the main straightaway, down the back straightaway as well. But also side draft on the right side of these cars is way stronger than it is on the left side of those cars. I think that plays a factor as well. It's so much easier to control if you're controlling the highest lane on the racetrack. That's why we usually see that third lane prevail. That's why it's so popular at the end of races, even if the leaders aren't trying to get to the front of the field. They're just trying to block that outside lane, because that's the lane that usually has the momentum. And it's so easy to side draft. If that inside line gets a run, what Casey Lacatus can do is get to the door of the 31, side draft his right rear quarter panel, he can get the run off the corner. That's what you're going to see the guys best at super speedway racing doing near the end of this race.
And also finding those spots where you find an opportunity to gain. If you have a run, you got to have somewhere to take it. A lot of times you get pinned down here on the inside, and then it's just forever that you lose spots or you stay stagnant in the position you're in. You saw Caleb Weekly, he lost some spots. He's already worked his way back up here to 5th. So he's pretty good at what he's doing right now. He had fallen almost out of the top 10 at one point. You're watching some of these other drivers on the move. You've got Bryce Shoemaker, another ringer here at the super speedways. He's worked his way up to 9th after starting back in 14th.
You know, only a 27-car field for tonight's race, as the bump traffic a little squirrely with the 50 and 09, but it's going to be a little tougher to get the 3 wide, 3x3 tonight, because you just don't have that many cars. If you put them all together, if you went 3x3 with every car in the field, it means 9 cars in each lane, which is a little smaller than what you're normally used to seeing. You'll usually see 35, 40 show up at Talladega. Not the case tonight, as Shinovsky had to take a bump there from the 35 of Banks, but you know, definitely something we're going to have to look at, because you have less cars in the field. So getting that third line, getting enough drivers committed to that third lane might be tougher to do than it would be usually anywhere else. As you see on board Joshua Banks, can't see the broken toe. You'd have to pay for that, I assume. But either way, he's running at the front. I think the best place he could be with an injury like that would be running at the front, where you don't have to be on the gas and on and off the entire time. As here comes Caleb Weekly. He went to the third lane. He hung the 09 and Chad Klinger out.
A lot of times you're communicating with the guys around you. You can see Banks on the radio constantly trying to talk. What are we doing? What are we doing? 44 Brewer now in the middle. In the live shot, the 13 had the momentum, and then just like that, the outside fell apart.
Well, Lacatus went to block and saw that momentum die in the middle lane, went to block the third lane, but you know, at that point, Caleb Weekly had 5+ miles an hour of momentum, and it's so hard when you're in a pack in a line that's bumper to bumper to be able to check up for something like that and not wreck. They did a good job not doing that, but ruined all the momentum in the upper lanes and sent Lacatus all the way to the back.
It's off the back end of Chuck Sweeting, watching Brendan Wallace, Roger Vaklavic there on the outside. And how quickly you can lose positions. Casey Lacatus was at the lead just a moment ago. He's in 23rd.
You need momentum. The momentum is so important. You lose it, you're going to go from first all the way back to 24th. That's exactly what he did. And we still haven't seen that third lane really become a thing. We tried, but didn't end up doing anything. We're back to 2x2, pretty much to that 22nd, 23rd position. You have about, I would say, 3 or 4 cars just kind of hanging at the back. You got Hodges, Keith Shoemaker, Laughter, all just kind of hanging back there. Everyone else content to stay in this pack, in this line.
Now Weekly leading the second group with Brewer on the back end. That's the 09 of Klinger. Third in line. This is around the 6th back to 9th position. But these cars are trying to get it going, so it's going to take a while to get the momentum built up down the back stretch. Looks like it's a handful. We'll go on board with Wiggly. Look at the wheel back and forth. I mean, he's not doing this on purpose. The back end of that car is getting lifted up.
And that's really, even when the 44 is not on the 13's bumper, he's going to get a little bit sideways just because of the aero and everything that's going on with that. But what I think they should be doing is giving a little bit more space at the inside line so they're not slowing themselves down by side drafting. You slow the car you're side drafting down, but you slow yourself down in the process. That's something these guys have to be aware of as well. If it was me leading that upper lane, I'd want to be side drafting in the corners and going about a groove off the wall down the straightaway, down the backstretch at least, and maybe a little more than that through a tri-oval. But right now they're content to just pinch down. It's working well. They're up to the battle for 5th, as you're starting to see some drivers try to get to the 3rd lane at the back, but not quite there yet.
That's Bryce Shoemaker leading the way, has the 1835, drops out of line. Joshua Banks all the way to the tail end of this field.
He blinked out and he just decided to lift so nothing else happened. So he's having either computer or internet issues, and we'll see if that rectifies itself. Isn't so far.
Yeah, 3rd lane still not developing, the 54-18. And I believe that's the one of Eldon Stewart. Trying to get that 3rd line going. It's pretty stagnant. You also have the 6-time winner this season and 2-time champion Jeff Wright riding in 20th.
All right, now there's no real hurry to get to the front. He actually saw Elston Belke wiggling in the middle all on his own there. Remember, 100% fuel tanks, you're probably pitting twice for sure. Whether it's under yellow or under green, we'll have to wait and see. But you only have to pit a maximum, or minimum, I should say, of 2 times. So we'll have to, contact for the lead. Shanoski got a bad bump from the 24, and it sent them into the 13 of Weekly, and everyone got through it. They're hitting at the back of the field, but they've kept it straight. I don't know how that wasn't a wreck, but that's how difficult it is to get a perfect push to the back bumper of someone. If you hit them just a little bit wrong, it's going to send them sideways.
Go back one more time, see if we can get a better angle of that. You saw the aftermath of it with Shinoxi all the way below the yellow line. Right here's the bump.
There.
They both
and
got
the
a bad
13,
bump.
yeah, it was almost simultaneous. The 44 also hit the 13 down the track, the 24 hit the 31 up the track, and they met in the middle. Somehow didn't cause a wreck. Stack Up went all the way to the back of that field. Ray Massey I saw was on the apron, but they've kept it straight. Had more drivers lose the draft because of that, including Massey, Chris Hodges, Tim Shanoski. They've lost the draft. Keith Shoemaker, Ben Laughter have also lost the draft, as well as the 35 of Banks with that issue. And some drivers with damage. There's a lot of rear damage on the 99 of Brandon Wallace.
I have to say, as far as paint schemes go, we've talked about the cars I've painted, but my favorite still on this racetrack is the Sherwin-Williams 09. I don't know if you have a favorite out here. These guys usually run the same paint every single week, and this chromed down, it kind of puts me in the mind of the Ryan Newman 12, the Mobil 1 car way back in the day. Might even have been Jeremy Mayfield at the time. But just that chrome blue, it's a beautiful car, and shout out to Chad Klinger running in 10th spot, trying to get it going on the outside, but it seems like every time they get up there, something happens.
I think Banks' paint scheme looks pretty nice. It would look better if he wasn't dead last in 27th. But 31, don't talk about Matt Shanoski all that often, but that paint scheme, channel lock number 31 on a Supra, looks pretty darn good. And now this time he's putting it in the lead at the front of this field. Doing a good job. I'd say it's calmed down. I don't know if that's exactly true, but it is at least more calm 2x2 at this point.
Yeah, I think it's calmed down because of that hiccup on the backstretch. We watched the replay of those guys getting together and stack the whole field up, and really it broke apart both outside and inside lines. So right there, man, 31 gets really loose going into the entry of 1. This car's tacks and nails right now. I can tell.
And one thing that's easy to do is lose the draft. You would think that's really weird. If you're at the back, just be full throttle, you'll get a big run. That's not really the case. You can get big runs, but they're very faint, and you can lose them in a hurry. If you check up at the wrong time, the pack gets away from you. If you're not within a certain range, it's pretty easy to lose the draft. That's why we're already only down to 21 cars in this pack. The other 6 have completely lost them, and they're going to need a yellow at some point soon. But very easy to lose a draft if you're not careful. And even the littlest bit of damage can cost you. You need to have someone behind you at all times if you're damaged. And that's why Brandon Wallace is in the danger zone, because he's got all that rear end damage. He's at the very back of this field. He cannot afford to lift for anything. And that can cause ARCA braking issues as well, because you can't lift or else you lose a draft, then they wreck, and you're flying into it. It happens so easily.
And just like that, Caleb Wigley back up to second spot. There was Philip Brewer up through the middle, takes over the lead from Chinoski. And now what will probably be one of many, many lead changes as they work their way to the outside line. Third lane finally develops. Look at that for the 54 of Shoemaker. Gives a shot to Weekly. They play all 3 lines and an elevator move into 3.
You can slam draft in these just a little bit, but you're very close to causing a wreck every time you don't lift to push someone. It's better just to lift, and as far as handleability, it's easier just to lift and give them a slight push, but slam drafting for speed's the way to go, and that's probably what's going to cause a yellow later. This race, you see right there, he hit him in the middle of the bumper, but you saw him swerving right to left just a little bit, and it put the 13 off just that little bit. Didn't cause a wreck, but you'll see that same incident cause a yellow later, I'm sure.
Of course, teammates there with a 13 and 54, so they probably communicated that. That helps when you know that shot's coming. But you don't always know when you have somebody getting a run. You go up to move and you think, well, they'll lift. Bryce probably said, here comes the checkered flag on lap 14.
Yeah, don't want to be going for a checkered flag too early. Also, you got to, especially for teammates, you got to be able to know if you're pushing the guy leading the line or pushing the guy second in line, because if you're pushing the guy, bumping the guy in the middle of the line, you can push him to the other guy, and then he gets pushed to the other guy, cause a chain reaction wreck. It's so many ways you could cause a wreck. It's so hard to avoid causing a big one, because there's probably endless ways you could cause it. You just don't want to be the one to do it.
Pretty sizable lead here for Philip Brewer as far as car lengths go. Has everyone behind him battling for that inside line. Outside starting to redevelop. Third lane still out there with the 54 and the 18. 6 is going to move up. Elliott Butler is going to choose the outside this time around.
Yeah, he got up with plenty of time to spare in the 09, in front of the 09. Didn't really, he made sure that the 09 had ample time to either avoid him or lift or bump him, whatever. You don't want to be blocking last second. Once again, another way you could cause a big one, another way you could crash yourself. But, pretty orderly between those guys. Bailey Turner's going to get up. He's been pushing Matt Chinoski the past 10 laps. He finally wants out to get some clean air and get to the middle and try to get the lead.
Moves up to the high line. First time we've seen the 24 step out of that inside line, and he gets really sideways.
Whoa.
The 6 all over the back end. Brewer's going to pull up and block that momentum. Do they take him 3?
Doesn't look like it, but Turner's just barely clear. If he wants to go for the lead, he'll get to the bottom. That's what he'll do. Brewer tried to block him, nearly put him below the double yellow line. Remember, that rule is in effect, and they're going to be side by side for the lead.
And that right there shows why Bailey Turner has victories at super speedways. He's willing to make some dicey moves early in the race and get away with them. It was very calculated. Waited until he was clear. Did it all at one time. That's the other part of this racing. This style of racing takes commitment. If you're going to do something, you better execute it, because in the blink of an eye, that lane closes. That slot's not there, or that car in front of you checks up and you lose a ton of ground.
At this point, a lot of familiar names in this series. Usually you know who's good at these types of tracks and who isn't. And usually, let's say Bailey Turner, everyone knows he can run at the front in super speedways. You do either one of two things with guys who know what they're doing at super speedways. One, you go with them, try to get to the front any way possible. You follow that 24 car. Or B, you do the exact opposite. Try to get them out of the pack as many times as possible, as late as possible. And usually it depends on what point in the race you're at, whether you do one thing or the other. I think early in the race, you're going to go with him, get yourself to the front. I think later in the race, you want him out. You do not want to have to battle him to the victory.
Well, Connor, you say that, but then what if it's the 24 car that's behind you, pushing you to victory, and you left him out to dry 7 or 8 times during the race trying to shuffle him out, and he's your only hope to get you to the top spot? He's going to leave you out to dry. So it works both ways.
Even if you haven't hung him out to dry, if you're 1v1 with him for the win, he's going to go for the win. He ain't pushing you across the line. He's going to go for it, as anyone in this field would, almost certainly. So that's something you're just going to have to deal with later as Klinger went to the bottom.
Man, I thought the 44, he's falling for it the third time here.
Well, I think it's better because he can side draft that 09 and keep him on his left side. The 09 can't get clear, and now Jeff Wright gets to run to the bumper of the 44, and he can push him back to the race lead. So for Brewer, it makes sense to give him the bottom because you can side draft him. That's exactly how you do it in this car. You don't want him getting to your right rear because then you're in trouble. Jeff Wright got to his right rear. He might have Reggie Ortega with him. He does. Brewer's got to get to the bottom, and he'll have help from the 09 this time.
I think we saw 4 different laps where a car went to the inside of the 44 Brewer, but Jeff Wright started without a qualifying time all the way back in 20th position here. Reggie Ortega also on the move, 14 positions gained. So both these cars were outside the top 10 to begin this race. Jeff Wright, first lap led if he can get it done here.
Always important to get some laps led. Don't believe you don't get any bonus points for it this season, but more laps led, better for the stats. All that matters is getting the victory and also just having clean races. Don't cause yellows, you won't get penalties. It's a big issue that some drivers have had all season, as well as, once again, we're seeing that middle line is the strongest line pretty much every single time. You got about 4 cars on that top line cleared, including Kenny Kibbe. Remember, had a pretty good run at Dega last season. Things controversially didn't fall his way. Ends up, I believe, second in championship. He's one of the favorites as far as consistency goes yet again. No wins yet, but he's been close. Great finishes. He'll be a threat this season again. Oh, Brewer and Ortega had contact there. Oh, there they go. Crash.
Weekly saves it. Maybe 50. No.
No yellow yet. This is all below the double yellow line. There's no yellow, and now the yellow's out.
Let's say they got to have a yellow on this one. There's 7 cars involved. 9 of Klinger has a piece of it there, but the 18 of Rob Hamp got sent down the racetrack, and that's going to bring out our first caution about a quarter of the way through this one.
We talk about chain reactions. That was a perfect case of it right there. One thing leads to another, and it causes a big crash.
And Weekly had saved the car, but Hamp off the wall. Klinger had slid up into him. We'll back this up one more time. Watch it from our blimp camera. Watch Weekly on the outside. There's the checkup.
Yeah, just chain reaction. Just almost going to get through it with minimal damage, and the 18 gets punted right down the track. Nowhere to go. It'll be the end of Rob Hamp's day pretty early. And it all starts with Reggie Ortega and Philip Brewer. Brewer tried to force his way to be outside of the 2. There's a little contact there, and it just stacks things in that outside line up all the way back to Weekly and Shoemaker and Hamp.
There's that slam draft that you were talking about, Connor.
A little more than you want, and there's not much the 54 could do. Even when he checked up, he got punted by, I believe it was Rob Hamp, and there's just not much they could do there. Once something happens, everyone tries to check up. It has to be absolutely perfect for there not to be a crash at that point.
First caution of the evening. 6 lead changes, 21 laps in. Jeff Wright had the lead at the time of caution. Fuel's important here. I think a lot of drivers are going to come down and take fuel only. We might see some 2-tire calls, but I don't think you want to take 4 at this point.
I don't know. We'll see. I think tires still matter a little bit here. And track position at this point isn't all that important. So if you're going to take 4 tires, this might be the time to do it. You're definitely pitting here for fuel. This cuts a pit stop out of it. And so instead of doing potentially two pit stops under green, this will bring you down to only 1. So pretty important pit stop here.
Jeff Wright hits his stall first. 6 of Elliott Butler just ahead there. We'll watch the battle off of pit road. There's going to be so many different strategies. Right now, as it sits, Jeff Wright with 11.1 in the box, down and away. Reggie Ortega in the 2 car, right sides only.
Give a Weekly struggling to even get in their box. Meatball on the 13, their day is done. That's the first chase driver, I believe, out of the race. So Fortunate led the points earlier in the season. A Weekly first race of the chase will likely be in a hole they cannot recover from. Also, Rob Hamp, Case Lakatis will be out of the race. Well, a lot more than that are having to repair damage. 09-14, Kenny Kibbe was in it, pretty severe damage. That's a big deal. Remember, he came in tonight the points leader. We didn't really talk about that all that much, but Kenny Kiwi is a points leader. So he's going to have a lot of work to do, try to repair that car and maybe be competitive.
While we have a moment to talk about it, this week's special presentation presented by Project Grace and the Project Grace 250 in memory of Elaine Buttery. Founded in 2021, Project Grace for Kids is a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to creating meaningful opportunities for children and families to connect with one another and their community. Through free events, educational programs, resource drives, and acts of kindness, our mission is to ensure every child feels valued, supported, and included. By partnering with local businesses, volunteers, and community members, we strive to remove barriers for families while creating lasting memories and building a stronger, more compassionate community, one child at a time. If you would like to find out more, you can use the link tree in the description of this live stream and check that out. And I just saw something very surreal, and I don't know how to describe it here, Connor, so I'm just going to hit the replay button and hope it happens again. Don't know if it will or not.
I was not looking at that screen. So.
Well, let's see if we can find the camera angle again. I doubt it happens. I'm crazy, okay? I swear I saw a tire flashing across the screen. Now,
yeah, I did
whether
not
it was
see
actually
that.
there, I don't know.
I have to look back on the live stream. Have to check in on the VSPEED YouTube and unsubscribe, then resubscribe as many times as possible.
That might have been what it was. People were there. It is. It's down on pit road. I swear,
who
it's
is
just
that?
I don't know.
I think I saw it too. Is that the 13th?
Maybe.
No, he has all 4 tires. I don't know what that is.
Well, let me go to the pit road entry and see if it's still there. Yeah, they must have went out and got it. Something.
Yeah. Oh,
strange.
good. Very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it's had a crazy race in the real world. O'Reilly's still not done. That's been about a 3.5 hour race. Lime Rock was 3 hours today. I think across all the NASCAR races today, we've had about either 5 or 6 red flags. Hopefully we don't have any in this race tonight. But already a pretty big crash, already chase implications. And by the way, in the O'Reilly race, he just wrecked on the restart again. So that's still not going well.
How about that race at Chicagoland, though? How good was it to be
race.
back there? It was an amazing race. And watching the Cup Series, mainly pay attention to the Cup Series every week, but watching Seabell chase down Briscoe, fantastic. I'm a little sick of watching Toyotas win. I'm not going to lie.
I'm sick of the dirty air. I thought it was going to be a classic, and then, all you have to do is aero block the guy, and then Chase Briscoe won. Good for him. He needed one. Wish Kyle Larson didn't spin. That was unfortunate, but I thought it was still good racing. O'Reilly race at like 1 a.m. the night before was also good racing. What a finish that was. Brandon Jones beat Chase Elliott. Who would have thought that?
Here we go. After our first caution of the day, will it calm down? I doubt it. Mixed strategies, 2 tires, no tires, and 4 tires. When everyone gets fuel, 3 flags out, we're back underway at Talladega. Reggie Ortega out to the jump, has Jeff Wright, who lost that battle off of pit road, came in as the leader, but he's going to push the 2 who got him up here. Those 2 cars still on the 15 and 18 positions gain mark. Pretty stagnant here for the first couple laps. It'll take a while to wind up, get Elliott Butler back up side by side with him.
Ortega, Wright work together. I believe co-admins, Bailey Turner, not really in the same group. Bryce Shoemaker's with the 48 and 2, I believe. So 24 kind of out of water here. He doesn't have his good friend Adam Cabot. Doesn't have AJ Stradado tonight either. So who knows who the 24 is going to work with once it comes down to the end. As these top 4, for the moment, break away from the rest of the pack. That won't last very long. Those 2x2 lanes will get a run eventually on those 4, unless they can't sort it out. Then they might even get a bigger lead. But you will usually never see 4 cars break away like you do in the Gen 4 car. You just can't quite get enough speed with only 4 cars. Yeah, you might get close to 195. Saw Philip Brewer there with a push off that middle lane. He got the 192 by my marks. That's something we're going to see later in this race when everyone's going 100% not lifting. We've already seen it crash. All drivers probably are lifting, and who knows what we'll see later in this race for sure. A few less cars in this pack, or at least, I guess technically more. You'll have 22 in this pack, but more cars out of the race, and big names losing a draft, specifically Kenny Kibbe. Cannot get that car repaired enough to stay in the draft, so big implications for the points. Good news for Bailey Turner, who would take over the points lead if he could finish well enough and pass Kenny Kibbe.
We throw tires instead of helmets when we're angry on this virtual track. Oh no, Connor, I think there's a chat feature in iRacing. I think there's more than just tires thrown around sometimes.
The chat feature can get people in trouble very often. I've seen it. Best not to, usually, when you're upset.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I don't even have a button for it. That's
Probably
where
best.
I am. It's for the best. I get paid to talk. I don't need a button in iRacing.
You get paid to talk and produce. I only get paid to talk.
Yeah, it's just not a good combination. Push buttons and talk. That's my
I have
forte.
the PC to push buttons. I don't know about the coordination.
Oh, yeah. Well, the mind game you play with yourself, whatever button you used to use for chat, just make that the tow button. You can hold it in and go right to pit road, and then you forget about it. Move on to the next one. Reggie Ortega holding the top spot. Jeff Wright still there. Bryce Shoemaker finally getting some momentum. Here comes the third line with Philip Brewer. A block to the inside. One Turner. Big momentum swing here for the outside line. Here they go across the line for the 54. He's within 200ths.
And Shoemaker wanted to go to the front, 48-2. Thankfully had enough of a gap in front of that bottom line they could just get down and be able to make that work and stay on the bottom line, continue to lead this race. At least the 2 can, but the 48 not able to get clear of Shoemaker, so the 2's trying to control the lanes. We'll see someone probably doing this later in the race. We saw Caleb Weekly try to do it lap 1. It didn't work for him, but you'll definitely see drivers trying to block like Cadell Jr. near the end of this one, and you already saw the 2 try it a little bit there, but it's not much you can do there without wrecking yourself. Very hard to block both lanes because it's not like a real-life race where you have to protect your equipment and not go for that move and just survive another lap. You can really easily just dump that driver out of line into the middle lane if they're not racing the way you want.
Again, race recap, our 7th lead change. Looking at possibly our 8th here with Bryce Shoemaker. 1 caution, a lap 21. Coming into turn 3, the 54, the 13 get together. Some more contact after the fact with the 09. The 18 goes sideways. About 6 cars involved in that. You had the 14 of Kenny Kibbe, who's back out on the racetrack. Kibbe is up to speed, but he has 1 car pushing. It's Keith Shoemaker trying to hope that we get another caution, maybe get this car fixed enough to compete.
Yeah, it's just worst case scenario for Kibbe, or maybe not the worst because he's still in the race as Shoemaker goes to the 3rd lane. Brewer, can't tell if that was designed to move or the 44 machine just kind of pushed him out of line. But either way, Bryce Shoemaker will go to the back. 44 will lead that 2nd lane. And yeah, like you said, 14 trying to get a yellow. Him and Keith Shoemaker trying to get a yellow. The only ones out of the draft. Last one's running, 23rd and 24th.
Another big mover in this race, Ray Massey, has started back in 21st spot, up 14 positions, working into the top 10. Watching a lot of different drivers take their shot and leading this race. That will continue. The trend will continue, but it's going to get more aggressive. The blocking, I think this inside line is going to get stagnated, and eventually you're going to see that 3rd lane develop to the point where I don't think you can hold it off. Now, if you do try to hold it off, you might end up wrecked. We've already seen the kind of bump drafting go wrong. Watching Eldon Stewart lead this race, you gotta choose and pick your battles. That's the 190-mile-per-hour chess match that we're playing right now at Talladega. Daytona's similar. Atlanta's even worse. You're always strategizing, and even though it looks like these guys aren't doing anything, some of them are just staying in the same spot, Connor. They're predicting where they want to be later in this race and testing the water for how this car is going to handle it.
One thing you can't do is lay back to get a run if you only have 2 cars. Brandon Wallace, Tim Shanowski found out the hard way. They're about to lose the draft if they already have it. That would only leave us 20 cars left already.
Yeah, sitting back here a little bit far, on board with the 99, and it is over a full second. So they've lost it officially. I think the range is somewhere around that 1/2 to 7/10. So half a second is where you want to be to maintain that draft as Philip Brewer moves it back to the outside. Eldon Stewart falls back. We're going to see this all race long. Some of these guys are going to get shuffled out. If you're scared to be up here in this pack, the alternative is you have no shot to win the race. If this goes green from here on out, Brandon Wallace probably doesn't have a shot at it.
I mean, you really can't lay back at all. You have to be right on the guy's bumper. We talked about is Eldon Stewart's going to get put 3 wide to the bottom. They're banging doors for third. Reggie Ortega was tired of following the 1 car, clearly, and it almost caused an incident, but it got Ortega all the way up to third, but can't hang back to get a run unless you have really 5 or 6 cars in your pack. There's really not much else you can do about it. And you're going to see drivers get aggressive later like the 2 just did right there, but right now, probably not the time for it.
Team Boss 64 working the outside, driven by Ben Lapter. First time we mentioned his name. Just cracked the top 10 there briefly. We saw the 89 of Austin Belkey was side drafted the 24 to try to maintain that position and ended up hurting him.
Yeah, you see Lapter just trying to get stuff going. I mean, this thing's gotten so strung out after that move by Ortega that we're almost getting ready to see old-style Daytona 2013 against the top of the racetrack, I'm convinced at this point. You only have about 5 cars that aren't on that bottom lane right now. One of them is Chad Klinger, the other is Dakota Floyd, a few others up there. But you're going to see these drivers get single file. I can't imagine they're having to make a fuel number as 98 got squirrely off the bumper of Ortega in second and third, but it looks like everyone right now, for the most part, is content riding. But as I say that, here comes Turner, here comes Banks, Aronis. They're going to go to the second lane, try to get to the front.
About 7 or 8 car lengths back for these drivers that get that second lane going. But they do have a head of steam. 24 really picking up the spots. Already worked up to the 7th spot. Now on to 6th. And Banks with the connection cleared up now. And the 35 blinked out earlier, was up front for the first 10 or so laps, fell out of the draft, went all the way back to the 25th position. It's since cleared up. There's one thing you don't want is a blinking connection. Anything going wrong with your internet here. You can usually get away with it in 1.5 miles, a short track, but you do not want to be blinking out when you're shoving somebody or someone's pushing you. It makes it way more difficult.
No, it makes it way more difficult. You also don't want to push too hard and blow your engine. I think I saw Keith Shoemaker just do that a lap or 2 ago. He's now out of the race. Means less help for Kenny Kibbe, but you can very easily blow your engine up. If you're not paying attention to those temps, it's very easy to do so. If it can blink red only once and your engine's going to blow. It's kind of random how it works. You got to be aware of that.
So the 88 now on pit road. Kenny Kibbe all by himself. The help he had, he is 28.7 seconds back from the lead. The last car on the racetrack. You see him crossing the start-finish line. Here come the leaders out of turns 3 and 4.
A big push from that middle lane. 24, 35, 29 did a good job getting clear of the 48. Or they got clear of the 44, then the 48 jumped low and then got freight trained himself. But the 24, 35 got a little bit too far out there. Going to let Hronis, Dakota Floyd work together to get a run. Now they're both going to come up to block that upper lane, but now the bottom's got the run. So you'll probably see, won't see Banks do it. You might see Turner come down to block the bottom lane. There he goes.
lot of strategy, a lot of games, but maybe getting left out to dry for the 44. He drops down in front of the 98.
Oh, J.R. Shepard, apron. Watch the rejoin. It's going to be dicey. Wow, everyone missed him. He's going to lose a draft, but he kept the race car. Could kind of see that coming. Everyone all of a sudden tried to get to the bottom, saw the run coming with the 98. The 2 pushed him there as well. And I think the 44 blocked him late, and then the 98 got into a 44, and then Ortega hit him, and I cannot believe everyone missed him. I think that was just a late block by Brewer. It's not halfway. We don't need to do this. I get one to keep the track position, but just got to be a little smarter than that, I think. That's a little too late of a block not to expect something to happen there. But very fortunate, very lucky it wasn't a crash.
The gutsy rejoin there.
Well, you didn't really have a choice. You're trying to scrub speed as much as you can when that happens, but you can only do so much going from the very flat to 33 degrees of banking.
And in the midst of all that, I was seeing another car that's worked up here quietly. Watching the 29 of Angelo Horonis. We haven't mentioned his name yet tonight, Connor. Horonis now in the top 5. I mean, he's squirreling.
Oh, that went all the way back to the bottom line, way at the back, but they kept it straight. He's been working with Bailey Turner, Joshua Banks, went to the front with them. Now in line, you could probably bet to see those 3 on pit road together at some point if we get to that point during a green flag run. As now it's Dakota Floyd, Jeff Wright leading this field. Chad Klinger, remember, he had the repair damage from that first caution. He's all the way back to the top 5.
In the best looking paint on the racetrack right now, fourth position, 09 to the outside, 24 on the inside. These two have had their scuffle throughout the season and throughout all 6 seasons. They went back and forth. Watching the 09 right now get the push from the 6 of Elliott Butler. Butler's made the outside work a couple times here today. Approaching what could be another lead change here in just a moment. Lap 41.
Like a daytime soap opera, Chad Klinger versus who? And every episode it's someone different, and we've gone through 6 seasons. But he's been able to work together with the 6 of Elliott Butler pretty well this season at the super speedways, or at least doing a good job so far today. Both of them have gotten to the front, but you see the bumps a little squirrely. It's almost better to slam draft for stability than it is to just tandem someone. Remember, it's not legal technically in the O'Reilly Series to tandem. I don't think they really enforce it, but it's supposed to be a rule. And whenever you're tandeming with someone, it's so difficult to stay locked to them. You really can't stay locked to them. That's why it's so hard to tandem, because you slide all over the place if you're the leading car. So it's just better to bump for speed, better than to just be locked to their bumper.
Butler's trying to get this 09 up there, but you can still see 4 car lengths ahead. That's the 35 of Joshua Banks holding on. So they fall back just a position outside the top 5. Outside still stagnant. Side by side deeper in this field. Philip Brewer, who's been shuffled back to 12th position, Ben Lapter on the inside. Eldon Stewart on the outside of Roger McLavick. Seth Hatchell quiet here today. Hatchell started in 7th, back to 17th.
Another driver who's been a model of consistency this season. Rode it to being seated 4th for the chase, 15 points back of Kenny Kibbe. And with Kibbe having issues, he came in tonight 5 points back of Bailey Turner, 2 back of AJ Shervada, who isn't here. So Hatchell could leave in a pretty good spot, but still such a long way to go, not even halfway yet. And like we said, model of consistency. Want to be consistent, get a good finish at a super speedway, you probably have to run near the back for most of the race, and you can afford to do that here because no bonus points for leading laps, no bonus points for pole positions, anything like that. So really no incentive to run at the front until the very end of the race.
You say that, Seth Hatchell's starting to move. Going up through the middle.
But where?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I think that outside is still trying to sort itself out, so could pick up a couple spots. But at the very least, you saw Hatchell. He was at the very tail end of this pack, and he's been able to hold on to the draft, as now Kenny Kibbe's going to end up going a lap down here with that right front damage.
24 took that opportunity because Floyd and Jeff Wright went off the bottom lane to pass him. They used that advantage, used that to their advantage to get to the bottom, kind of shoved Dakota Floyd out of there. So Jeff Wright a little bit outnumbered at the front of this pack now, and the only thing Kenny Kibbe can hope for is to tag along to this draft. I think that thing's just too total to do so, though. Man, not even close.
Yeah, it's good 5-6 miles per hour off their speed here.
He's gonna need a yellow in the next probably 15 laps. If he goes 2 down, it's gonna be tough to recover from. The only good thing is that he's the only driver a lap down, but there's 3 other drivers who have lost a draft: Shepard, Wallace, Tim Shinosky. They could get lapped at any point in this race. He's just got to try to hold out and hope he's the only one a lap down at the time of maybe a yellow.
Coming up on 23 laps in the stint. And a little connection issue there with Jeff Wright. Quick blink out there from the 48 car. But based off these numbers, Connor, I want to say within the next 20 laps, we're going to see a flood down pit road. Right at the 45 lap mark. This is right around halfway, so you don't want to pit too early. Get yourself by yourself. But you also don't want to stay out there too long because you could end up by yourself anyway.
Yeah, I think most drivers are probably going to run the fuel tank dry, take the least amount of fuel possible, and the tire strategy at that point, if we get to that point, will be pretty interesting. You might see drivers take 4. You'll probably see most drivers take 2 tires because the amount of fuel you're taking will take too long to justify taking no tires. And the tires still matter on pit exit a little bit. It helps your speed on the exit, down the back straightaway, all that. So I think you'll probably see 2 tires, fill it to the brim, and hope you have enough for green-white checkers if you have those happen. But you can't really bank on having green-white checkers. You got to fill it up just to get to the end of lap 94 and just hope if you get the green-white checkers, you can save enough to at least have some fuel for maybe 1, maybe 2.
Yeah, right.
Whoa.
Very squirrely through the tri-oval. That's going to check up the inside. Dakota Floyd's going to have the run going into 1. Here comes Seth Hatchell for the first time today.
That's just bad timing. I think he hit the 48 when they were entering the tri-oval, so the 48 just on that banking change maybe just got a little bit sideways more so because of that banking change, and it helped that upper lane get to the front. 57-8, they're going to get down to the bottom, and we'll see if Philip Brewer, Shoemaker, Stewart, and the others can do anything about it.
While we mentioned Dakota Floyd, it's another opportunity here to bring up the Project Grace 250 in memory of Elaine Buttery. Again, you can check it out in the video description. Founded in 2021, Project Grace for Kids is a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization. It's dedicated to creating meaningful opportunities for children and families to connect with one another and their community. Again, the link tree in the description below. But that's going to put us right at the halfway mark. And Connor, I know that we like to do a little thing here on VSPEED. You can't hear any audio. I know you're in the session.
I've been hearing it all the time.
Yeah. Well, let's just both find those volume knobs. I think we just turn it up as loud as it can go. And for these next couple of laps, we'll hear the sights and sounds from Talladega and Chase race number 1. Let's get loud. Presented by FireStorm Racing. second round presented by FireStorm Racing. Bryce Shoemaker becomes the 14th lead change of the night with 1 caution, 51 laps, 50 completed. Approaching those green flag stops, we've seen a variety of everything from the top lane getting going a couple different times. The outside has prevailed now and later in this run. We're watching Bryce Shoemaker dive down to the bottom with Eldon Stewart. You have Elliott Butler, Philip Brewer, Dakota Floyd falls back to 5th. A lot of different names shuffling in and out of the top spot.
Nelson Belka is going to go to the back. I don't know if he got shuffled or wanted to get out of line at the front, but he's going to go to the third lane, drop back. It got pretty hairy 2 laps ago down the back with Eldon Stewart and Bryce Shoemaker making contact. Checked up the pack. Everyone did a good job checking up that time. Not a guarantee you get away with that again. And starting to see more and more drivers just commit to being on the double yellow line bottom of the racetrack. It tells me they're getting ready to position themselves for pit stops, but I don't think we're done shuffling quite yet because everyone, remember, you're making your final pit stop of the race almost certainly coming up in 10 to 15, maybe even 20 laps. Jeff Wright dropped out of line there. I think there was a bad push in the middle of the pack right there, but you still want to position yourself near the front for green flag pit stops before everyone comes down the pit, just to have that extra track position, maybe make some extra time on some other drivers around you. That could be important, could lead to you winning the race, could lead to you just getting a better finish overall. We'll just have to wait and see how that plays out.
Massey up to 3rd now, highest of the 23 is ran today, getting a push from the 09 of Chad Klinger. Klinger has pushed several cars up here. Is it going to be enough? Coming off of turn 2, we're going to find out with the momentum swing.
You see Shoemaker's ready for the momentum swing, went to the top, immediately blocked that run. 23, probably about 3 miles an hour faster with that run, and gives a big bump to the 54, gets himself clear to the bottom. 09 wants to follow, but he's not really going to have a... Oh, man, he made a hole to get to the bottom right there. It seemed just barely got in front of the 44. Those are the risks you have to take. You don't want to be on the outside looking in if you're low on fuel and can't go another lap. So if you've got to get to the bottom, you got to do it one way or another. You do not want to be pitting from the 2nd lane here. That is a no-no.
Klinger able to find the slot. Again, that's the commitment that you have to have at these super speedways. If there's a hole and you hear clear, you go now. You cannot think about it. A lot of times these drivers have muscle memory. The guys that are really good at the super speedways, it's almost an ebb and flow kind of mentality. Whatever the race gives you, adapt to it, overcome. 190 plus miles per hour as we approach pit stops.
We'll just see how green flag pit stops play out. I ran a league race here about a week ago, or about, I guess, a week and a half ago at this point, and we ended up with only 12 cars in the lead line for the last 15 to 20 laps. And you know what they did? They ran against the outside wall. Checkups were pretty bad. We haven't even really talked about the risk of having checkups in a long single file line. That could be an issue. But it became hard to pass because you only had 12 cars and they were all pinning it to the outside line. You see it all the time. You have everyone pinned it to the outside wall. You have that one guy in the pack trying to go to the bottom, make positions up one by one using that side draft and that momentum, diving to the bottom of the racetrack, down the hill. We could see that later. It's going to get pretty spread out. Everyone's going to have something happen on green flag pit stops. A 10th here, a 10th there. It all matters, all comes into play. But we got to get there first.
Single files out. Top 3 then after the first side-by-side with Philip Brewer, Seth Hatchell, Eldon Stewart, Bailey Turner, and Joshua Banks.
Also had another driver lose the main pack, and I believe it was a chase driver in Chuck Sweeting. We're down to only 18 lead lap cars in this pack now, and it's another chase driver. No damage for Sweeting, but no draft, no good.
That's just a ton of time lost, and it's difficult to really go back and see where that happened for Sweeting.
It wasn't really one moment. It just gradually happens. If you're not consistently staying right to the bumper of someone in that lead pack, it's so easy to fade and lose it, because if there's no checkups happening, it's so easy to lose that draft, and Sweeting was another victim of it. He'll be able to tag along with those other 3, but he'll still be hoping for a yellow at some point.
That's how far it looks back to Chuck Sweeting. That's an eternity. They actually got some cars catching up to him that he could tandem with. The 98 leading this group of 3 cars with the 99 of Brandon Wallace, the 07 of Tim Shinosky. Kenny Kibbe, the only car a lap down, hoping for a yellow.
About to go 2 down, and if he's the only car a lap down, it's not the worst thing in the world to be 2 laps down. He just cannot afford anyone else getting lapped. And as far as being on your own without damage, Chuck Sweeting's about 2.5 seconds slower than the main pack. He's half a second slower than that line of 3 that's catching him. And with all his damage, Kenny Kibbe is a total of 4 seconds off the lead pack. So you really only get 12 to 13 laps until you get lapped again in Kibbe's case. And he's about to have to deal with that probably this lap.
And the real short end of the stick, Connor, is Kibbe out there by himself with damage. Car's under power, but he's still burning more fuel than this group. So he's going to have to pit before them as well.
And that's, a poorly timed yellow can really hurt him. But, it only takes 1 yellow to really get him back into this race. And it's the same thing for that pack of 3 back there. I mean, they might have draft themselves, but they're still burning more fuel because there's just more on throttle time when you have less cars, and there's just not much you can do about that. So you'll see that line of 3, now 4 with Chuck Sweeting. You'll see them pit a lot earlier.
Pretty seamless transition there for the 54 and 23. The 09 follows it through. Kibbe going to lose that second lap. To try to envelop into this group. Jeff Wright sideways. Going to hold on to it. Down off the apron, though.
2 didn't get the memo. I guess he didn't think they were checking up that much on the bottom. Ran into the back of Jeff Wright. 48's able to save it. 6 blinked a little bit. You see right there, they both commit to the bottom. I just don't think Ortega knew they were checking up that much and gave a tap to the 488. They got away with it. Still no takers.
Connor, I'm going to throw out a number. Lap 64. I think that's the mark. Everybody's going to have to pit at that point. I don't think you can go any further.
Yeah, I think since their last pit stop for drivers that didn't top off, that would be about 42 laps. So it's a long stretch, but if you have been laying in the middle of this pack, not full throttle the entire time, I believe you can make that number. But you think about the guys who have been kind of full throttle or at the front this entire time. You think of Philip Brewer, he's been at the front a lot this run. Bailey Turner, Jeff Wright, and some of those guys who have only just recently dropped back. Dakota Floyd, and this is as single file as we've seen it this entire run. You gotta imagine we're gonna see pit stops in the next 5 laps.
The real issue now is everyone's on the bottom of the racetrack. Did we see the whole field at the same time?
I don't think so. I think you're going to see them split up, but you'd rather be in a pack of about maybe 5 to 8 cars. You do not want to pit with 15 plus cars, even 10 plus cars. You really don't want to see, because everyone has an earlier pit stall or later pit stall than the other. So it's very easy to make contact under braking, especially if you're going for the same piece of real estate. Even if you're under the double yellow line, you can see contact. I've seen a lot of yellows caused just trying to get the pit lane. You got to be able to know who you're pitting with and be able to trust them. Here we go.
Comes Bryce Shoemaker.
Matt Shinosky. Not many. Matt Shinosky. Oh, 31's deep. He's going to spin. Not what the 54 wanted to see, because that's help for him gone. Belky's in. Vaclavic's in. Kenny Kibbe decided to tag along. But not what the 31 wanted, and I can imagine he probably got speeding. Yes, he did.
98. With Shepard also in.
Shinosky, Wallace, Sweeting all came in as well. So that was lap 61. Lap 62. Would think you see more this time as well.
Ben Laughter.
Not too many others. Eldon Stewart Christopher Hodges. And what Ellen Stewart did a good job. Didn't look that pretty, but he gained a lot of time that he lost back. As Chuck Sweeting also got speeding. So he's going to have to go to the back. I think he got speeding on exit, so he's going to have to come back to pit lane. So that's 2 right there. Talk about it. It's deceptively difficult. I mean, you have a long braking zone to get the pit speed, but you try to get too much, and it can cost you your race. Lap 63. Who do we see this time? Ooh, a lot of them. Here comes Wright, Butler, Massey, Ortega, Klinger, Hatchell in, Phillip Brewer. They're all in. Somehow, that was a darn good job by 7 cars right there not to hit each other. But now it's all about sorting out who's got the early pit stall, who has to get to the bottom, who stays to the top. Don't want to be spinning each other entering your stalls, and they did a great job sorting that out.
Metro moves there. Lap 64, this is the mark. You can't go any further. Then we're going to probably see Joshua Banks, Angela Horonis, Bailey Turner, and Dakota Floyd bring it down this time around.
One thing I don't think will hurt them too much is they might be getting a sniff of draft from Vaclavic and Belke, so might make the red lap a pretty decent speed right here. I don't know if it'll help all that much. We'll wait and see, but track position matters for this final run for sure. And sure enough, lap 64, as far as it can go, Turner's pretty deep under brakes, but 35 is locking up. I think they'll all get in safely. Now it's all about who comes out where. Looks like Elliott Butler is the first of the drivers who have pit, so you're kind of comparing to the 6 and the 0.23 and 0.9 as to where these guys come out. It's like we kind of expected 2 tires only, and then taking just the fuel you need to get to the end. Then they'll get formed up and hope they come out in the middle of the main pack, but I think that pack with the 6, 23, 0.9, they might get an advantage here. Maybe not. I think these 4 did a pretty good job. But they're not formed up. You can see how spread out they are, so that's not going to work really in Dakota Floyd's favor. He might be his favor. He might not be in trouble. His flavor is Dr. Pepper.
Oh, it's 23
not working in his favor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually 23. But good job by those 4 drivers to be able to have a good cycle. But Elliott Butler has got the run. He's got the momentum. He'll probably get the lead away, but he got teammates at the front now that can really play a factor at the end of this race.
Sadboys Racing on the inside, 35, 24, and 29. But now with the cycle of green flag pit stops, that gives us an opportunity to take a little break here on VSPEED. You are watching the Project Grace 250 live from Talladega. More coverage continues of the Saturday Night Racing League in just a moment.
Sebastian Marin, your first repeat top split winner of the qualifying series.
We knew it was just a matter of time. Hunter Sr. is victorious.
Josh Adams taking the win at Iowa.
Juicy Spider Motorsports takes home the 1, 2, 3 finish.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Introducing Tractor USA, the best way to buy and sell premium ag and construction equipment. Tractor USA was designed to be straightforward, simple, and affordable with zero commission and live auctions every week. Tractor USA auctions offer the finest selection of pre-owned tractors, combines, and other ag and construction equipment from across the United States and the world. Simply go to tractorusa.com to get started today.
Walking and rolling costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time. So I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Welcome back here to Talladega Super Speedway. You're watching tandem racing for the most part right now with a four-car breakaway from the top six. You've got Seth Hatchell, Reggie Ortega, Dakota Floyd, and Jeff Wright. 7th through 10th position. Last time by, they matched lap times with the top six, but they're not catching them really at all. It's been about 1.5 seconds roughly that they've been back here from the back of Chad Klinger, 2.2 seconds back from the lead. You also have another group, the third group that we were talking about, Connor, 11th position led by Philip Brewer, another group of 5 cars. And this kind of translates over to who pitted with who.
Definitely a little bit. I mean, you got the guys who pit last, almost all in that first pack. The only one not is Dakota Floyd, who kind of lost touch with him a little bit. I think the best thing for that second line of 4 is that if that third line actually gets to them, I think having 9 cars instead of 4 would actually make a big difference. That third line's been making the best time out of any of them the past 2 to 3 laps, although that first line is still incredibly fast. Going to be hard to catch regardless of what these guys do, but I think Brewer is going to have their draft in about 9/10 back, 8/10 back is that sweet spot of getting a little bit of draft. I think he's just in range of it. It's not over yet, but they got to get going soon because that first pack of about 6 lead lap cars are going to get away pretty soon.
And again, a reminder here for the Project Grace 250. Project Grace for Kids, again, is a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to meaningful opportunities for children and families. You can find all of those links at the bottom, but through free events, educational programs, resource drives, and acts of kindness, their mission is to ensure every child feels valued, supported, and included. They partner with local businesses, volunteers, and community members and strive to remove barriers for families while creating lasting memories, building a stronger, more compassionate community overall, one child at a time. And you can check that out if you would like to find out more. Donate to the cause in the link in the description below. It's the very top link there. There's a link tree for all their events coming up. It's a good cause. And again, this race going out to Elaine Buttery as this group has caught up to the back of Jeff Wright. This might be where the fire happens. Here we go to the outside.
Well, they're going to go to the second lane. Not sure if they're going up the track for momentum or...
They lost ground.
I mean, they're definitely losing time. That first pack is definitely pulled away for sure as Kenny Kibbe gets lapped a third time. His race effectively over, but I'm not sure what the move was there. It just all of a sudden they became very uncoordinated into turn number 3. They all ran about 51.5s, 51.6s that last time, over half a second off that first line.
Jeff Wright's going to get up here to the back bumper and switch places with Dakota Floyd, but he didn't have enough momentum. They were trying to get around, I believe, the 2 of Ortega and the 8 of Hatchell, but ended up losing ground.
Well, I'm not sure what the strategy is, what they're trying to do. They're either, I would assume, trying to have, they're definitely, I think, trying to get around the 8 of Hatchell right now. I can't tell if they want Hatchell out to get to the back of a line so they can just keep rotating the lead guy, or the pusher becomes the guy rotating. But either way, they're not coordinated at all right now, just losing time. Those top 6. At this point, I wouldn't say gone because there's 20 to go, but we're getting pretty close.
Yeah, they're going to have to make up 2 or 3 tenths a lap if they want any shot at the lead here at the end of this race. There's the move to the outside.
And Hatchell's going to go to the back, and all this has done is waste their time and kind of maybe lose their chance at trying to get to that lead line. They were so close before they merged. I thought it was better that they merged, but seemingly it just hasn't gone well since they all got together right now.
Elliott Butler still quietly up in the lead. Ray Massey, Horonis, Turner, Banks, Klinger, the top 6. These drivers on your screen. You have a mix there with the 31 of Matt Shinosky, the first car a lap down. Kenny Kibbe 3 laps down. One of your chase drivers who got damage in that only caution of the day. The 14 is in 22nd position. We have 5 other cars off the racetrack with Tim Shinosky, Keith Shoemaker, Caleb Weekly, another one of those chase drivers, Rob Hamp, Casey Lakatos out and done for the day. So tough break. Chuck Sweeting, another chase driver, 1 lap down and looking to maybe lose another one. He has picked up draft here with another chase driver, J.R. Shepard, in 18th.
Yeah, all 3 of these guys have lost the draft, including Brandon Wallace. They're hoping for a yellow that may never come. There's not much I can do about it. They're just waiting to hope to have a chance to get back in this race. Remember, Shepard got turned by, I believe, Ortega after a block by Phillip Brewer. That's why he lost the draft. Chuck Sweeting and Brandon Wallace has gradually lost the draft. Not much they can do about it besides hoping for a yellow. As that second pack has started to put down better laps, but still a long way to go. See the gap off the front bumper of Ortega. He's 4 seconds behind Chad Klinger. He probably needs to gain about 3.1 seconds on Klinger to get his draft and get a run on him. Last time by, while their times were good, 50.9s, 51 flats, it was not that much faster than that first line.
Last lap times on the left-hand side of your screen. As soon as it cycles out there, you'll see this second group for the spots that they have. Again, they're just matching times. They need to beat those times by tenths, and they're just matching them by hundredths.
There's not much they can do about it. That was a good lap. I mean, they were formed up well, a lot of speed, but that first pack is doing a good job making sure they don't get back in that race. They want to leave it amongst themselves as Tim Shinosky gets back on track. He had an internet issue or something when we were under break, but lead pack doing a good job. Not that time, 51.3s that time, but they were still a tenth or 2 faster than that second pack as big checkup in that second pack just slowed them down a ton. They want to leave it amongst themselves for the victory. That would play in the favor of the drivers sitting 3rd through 5th. Horonis, Turner, Banks, they've worked together all night long, and they certainly have the number advantage over Elliott Butler and Ray Massey.
See in the background there with Reggie Ortega leading this group. It's 4.6 seconds, continuing to lose time, hemorrhaging spots, fighting amongst themselves. Across the start-finish line now for Ortega. Brewer giving the push to the 2.
Yeah, they were making times comparing the lead pack the 2 laps prior. That time by 51.1s. Or actually 51.1s from the lead pack, and they were about a 0.4 of a second off that in the second pack. So starting to run out of time to be able to chase down that gap. It's now up to 5 seconds from Klinger to Ortega.
Now as this approaches 15 to go, Connor, gotta wonder, of this group in the top 6, who's going to make the move first? Who's most likely to get the win? If I'm Elliott Butler right now, I'm afraid because I know the 23 and Massey's not going to stick with me. Again, Massey, winless this season, has had tastes of victory in the previous seasons. He wants to find his way around for another one. Angelo Horonis, who is in this chase format, he needs a victory to really catapult himself. He's got some drivers that are ahead of him in points that are deep in this field. You also have Joshua Banks and Bailey Turner, drivers that have proven they can get it done here at Talladega. Do we see sacrilege from the 24 and 35 working together to get around this top 3?
Well, I think the first one to make the move will be Horonis because he's been working with the 24 and 35 all night. I would think those 3 are going to be the first to make a move. There's not much Chad Klinger can do. He really has no friends. He has a lap car, Matt Shanowski, kind of in the middle of things. He probably won't move until maybe the last lap, if that. So there's not much a 09 can do. If anyone makes that first move, I would think it's the 29. The 23 will probably have no choice but to try to block it. I think at that point, it's going to go in favor of those 3 guys sitting behind the top 2. Once again, 51-1s, 51-2s from that front line, and just the second pack not making the times. I think their chase to get to that pack is pretty much over at this point. It's just a matter of who makes that first move in that first pack.
And a clever twist here on the Me car. It's Miko on the hood of the Frisians number 15. Dog that frequently appears on the live stream. Running in the 10th position. But yeah, this second group has fallen back so far. It's going to be physically impossible without a yellow to catch up to this group. And then that third group that's even further back. That's the group I'm worried about at this point. They're gonna fight hard, but they've split apart so much. Austin Belke running tandem with Broderick Van Glavik. You have Eldon Stewart up here in this group with Seth Hatchell. That third group had caught up. But there's so many cars that lost the draft organically before those pit stops, like Chuck Sweeting, like the 98 of Shepard. These guys, they needed a caution 40 laps ago.
Yeah, but if they can stay lead lap, it doesn't matter if it happens now or coming to 2 laps to go. I mean, they just need one, and Shepard, all those guys who are lead lap will be back in the race. They just need the one, and they'll be back in it. Matt Shanowski just needs the one to get back on the lead lap and get the lucky dog. Who knows what could happen with him. It's a little tougher for Chuck Sweeten to get back in the race. Kenny Kibbe's race 3 down, pretty much over. But the only thing that those guys who lost the draft, 16th on back can hope for is more drivers to lose the draft or crash out, possibly. More points to possibly gain in J.R. Shepard's case. And as far as the guys in the lead pack, like Joshua Banks, it's just a waiting game at this point.
And you can see him communicating. What do you think's going on the radio right now, Connor? Definitely talking to the 24.
They're just trying to game plan when to go. I mean, you got to time it right. You can't time it too early or else that second pack could catch you back. You can't time it too late to the point where you can't get to the lead in time. So it's just all about communicating. If you guys are on the same page about going on a specific lap at a specific point on the racetrack, do you want to lay back? Do you not want to lay back? Who are we going to go with? If the 23 blocks, do we go to the bottom and shove him out or not? All that stuff is, among stuff that they could possibly be talking about. Just trying to time it right, really, is what they're going to have to do.
It's all timing, but it's also instinct, execution. You can time it right, but if you don't execute, you can still find yourself outside in chase race number 1. Elliott Butler has led the last 20 laps now. Coming by. No one's going to contest with 10 to go. Butler looking pretty good. And we were talking about how the previous seasons, Connor, and we've talked about this a lot in the breaks and the off weeks, and it's just surreal how many different winners we've had over the past 5 seasons and how concentrated the wins are in this one. With Jeff Wright with 6 wins, Joshua Banks with 3. You had Stravato, who really turned up the heat, not here this week. Started 3rd in points to come in tonight. He'll lose a lot of ground. Turner with 3 victories. Your points leader, Kenny Kibbe, not a good night. He had the points lead with 0 wins. This is the exact opposite of what he wanted. But there's so many names out here. Elliott Butler, 0 wins, 9th in points here tonight.
You got 5 chase drivers who don't have victories. You've had 17 races. We've only had 5 winners. You got 3 drivers with 3 wins. You got 4. We got 4 with 3 or more. Then you have Elganoff with the super speedway win so far. The drafting track wins. Didn't show up to win Talladega, but we've had no one-time only winners. Everyone who has won is a multi-time winner. So it has been oddly condensed in compared to previous years. Separate cars possibly, maybe the culprit, but had a lot of seasons where you've had a lot of variety as far as winners. Just hasn't been the case. The guys who run at the front have been able to finish at the front more times than not.
So lap 86, and everyone is scheming at this point in this top 6 of drivers. We talked about that, and again, checking back in with the second group. It is now almost 7 full seconds from Chad Klinger to Reggie Ortega. It's 7.5 to the lead. That gap continues to grow, and I think right now they're just praying that that caution comes out, hoping that something happens that throws them back into this. You have Bryce Shoemaker in here who's run a respectable race. Jeff Wright, it was just a matter of execution on pit road. A little bit slower on and off. Maybe chose a little bit more fuel than everybody else, or a little bit slower to the box. We're talking about splitting hairs when you pit under green at Talladega.
And we talk about going long, maximizing, or actually minimizing the amount of fuel you have to take. Always a big factor. Paid off for the drivers in this lead pack for sure. Pretty much everyone in it stayed out as late as possible, especially those 3 in the middle of the line for sure. As Butler kind of twitched back to the bottom, thought that might be a move. Wasn't really the case, but staying out long seemed to be the play. The only one it didn't work out for was Dakota Floyd, who just couldn't keep pace with the 29 and 24 and 35.
So the execution here, if we do get a caution, Matt Shinosky will get that free pass position. He is the first lap down, and he is not in the group that he wants to be in for that yellow.
You do not want to be reckoned with only 6-7 cars in this draft, but the bump from Massey to Butler wasn't great there.
Not how you want it to be. You also, like you mentioned, Shinosky, he doesn't want this crash. He wants it in the other 2 or 3 groups of cars. Not right now.
Honestly, at this point, he can afford to let Chad Klinger go, just lay at the back. They're not going to catch up to that pack with Chuck Sweeting in it. He's pretty much locked into a lead lap. He cannot afford to get an instant point or he won't get that lucky dog. So if I'm him, I'm letting the 09 go, laying back and just hoping to have something happen not in front of me.
(276-889-3426). ClarkPrintShop.com. Clark Print Shop Biggest Mover Award is actually going to go to the Clark Print Shop driver of Ray Massey as it sits right now.
Elliott Butler in the running for that. He's up 18 positions, but Ray Massey just got the extra spot. He's up 19 positions, and Butler can't go any higher.
That's how you want it for the white flag, but I know if I'm Elliott Butler. 5 laps to go. I don't trust anyone behind me. Not a single car behind me is going to go with me. And so at this point, I think, would it be better, in your opinion, Connor, to just drop back? I think it'd be better to just drop back a couple spots and then find somebody to push me with the 2 to go mark. Because if you're up front, you're a sitting duck. Every car behind you is going to try to pass you, and it's all going to happen at one time. It's going to be utter chaos for the white flag.
I think you're a sitting duck anyways, because you know the guys 3rd through 5th are working with each other. I think Ray Massey, it's very possible that they know they're outnumbered and they might work together. You know, Chad Klinger's at the back of this line. He could probably tag along with the 6 and 23, but they're too separated. I think your bed's made. You have the lead. You're up in second, whichever one it is. You're not dropping back intentionally, because if you let those 3 by, he's very likely to just clog all 3 lanes, and you can't pass him anyways. You just got to decide which one wins. So I don't think that would work out for him anyways. You just got to hope somehow you can pull it off, blocking 3-4 lanes on one lap. It's going to be tough, but he knows what he has to do. That second pack has started racing. They realize they're not going to catch up. They're racing for 9th position. Actually, it's a 7th position, but they're racing.
Hodges works his way up to 7 through all of that. 3 to go for the 15.
Whoa, too squirrely.
Jeff Wright to the outside, and again, Jeff Wright with 6 wins on the season, the 7th in points coming into tonight. This still isn't the situation he wants to be in. He needs to make up points, and this is not the race for it.
No, not what Jeff Wright needed at all. I mean, remember, he's battling for 7th, so even though he's very far back, 7th wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but definitely does not want to see one of those chase drivers win that race. It's 13 extra points if you win compared to 2nd place, so he's rooting for some of those chase drivers up there not to get the victory. He's rooting for someone other than the 24 or 35 to get the victory. You're not even rooting for the 6 of Elliott Butler. I think his best bet is probably Chad Klinger.
Yeah, Klinger's out of it because Coronas, everybody but Klinger is up here in this chase format. So
yeah,
it's
Coronas,
yeah,
I think 24s. I think they're starting to try to formulate a little bit of a run, possibly. The 29 got real close to the bumper of the 23, but you look at Bailey Turner, how much he's laying back right now. You got to think they're kind of testing something, testing the water to see if they can get that run. Now look at this right now.
Took us 93 laps to get here. Green flag pit stops. Execution on pit road for all these drivers, and the white flag is in the air. One more time around. 2.66 miles left to go at Talladega.
09 went and side drafted the 35. That's going to take Bailey Turner's push away a little bit. He tried to get that run pushed by Banks, but now here comes the 29. He's going to make the move, but Turner's going to have enough to push him right here.
Big shovel on the outside. Butler's going to go up and block it.
Oh, wow, he got in front of him. There goes Hronis. He's going to get to the bottom. They're going to crash behind him. They're going to save it somehow, but now it's side by side for the lead. Who goes with who?
Still momentum behind them. They can pull up. Remember, the start-finish line is after the tri-oval here. We're about to see a photo finish here on VSPEED.
Does the 09 push him?
29 Hronis, 6 of Butler, 35 of Banks.
Oh, they're going to crash.
In a big crash, Elliott Butler has claimed victory.
Ooh, look out behind. No one's going to hit the 29, but it all worked out for Elliott Butler. He made the block at the right time. The momentum from behind never came, and the 09 was able to stick behind and push him to victory. What a win.
Hronis went from the top 3 to 12th. Philip Brewer crashing across the line. Not sure what happened there. Backing up.
It all happened in the second. They crashed in the second pack as well. I mean, didn't really see what happened there, but that was the second pack. They had already had issues down the back, and then Ortega and El Distortion. And then right there, just bumping, banging, coming to the line. Hronis gets the short end of his stick. I thought he had it. He had the pusher. Elliott Butler just made such a good block down the back, and Bailey Turner tried to go at the 29. He just did not clear Ray Massey into 3, and that made all the difference. And it let them be 2 by 2, and Chad Klinger stayed committed to the back bumper of the 6 car, and that was the difference.
Post-race interviews with your top three and those final race results. Elliott Butler comes home. Of all the drivers that we thought weren't going to win this race in that pack of six, he's able to get it done. More coverage continues of the Project Grace for Kids 250 right after this.
Repeat top split winner of the qualifying series.
We knew it was just a matter of time when Hunter Sr. is victorious.
Josh Adams taking the win at Iowa.
GC Spider Motorsports takes home the 1-2-3 finish.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
Introducing Tractor USA, the best way to buy and sell premium ag and construction equipment. Tractor USA was designed to be straightforward, simple, and affordable with zero commission and live auctions every week. Tractor USA auctions offer the finest selection of pre-owned tractors, combines, and other ag and construction equipment from across the United States and the world. Simply go to tractorusa.com to get started today.
Walking and Rolling Costumes started when my son Reese was born with cancer.
So when I was 3 years old, I got my first wheelchair.
And he wanted to be Wall-E for Halloween that year. And so I knew you couldn't buy a costume to go on a wheelchair at that time, so I knew I had to build one.
My dad ended up building a Wall-E costume out of a Dell computer box.
When we were all finished, he loved it. We took pictures of it and shared it on social media. So many people started sharing it that we started getting requests from people we didn't know.
In 2015, we decided to build them for other kids because people were asking, hey, can you build them for my kid?
So we started the nonprofit organization, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and we build costumes for kids all over the nation, free of charge to the families.
Back live at Talladega Superspeedway, we finished under green in the allotted distance of 250 miles, 94 laps here today. And it was a driver that hasn't won yet this season. Elliott Butler in the number 6 is victorious. He led 27 laps to become his first victory, or first victor of the chase. And go through those final race results. Race recap, 18 lead changes, 1 caution happening on lap 21. Joshua Banks and Bailey Turner with a top 3. A great start to the chase for those drivers. Chad Klinger, a top 5 finish. Ray Massey is going to finish in 5th. And the number 23, a rough day, had a potential to win this race as well. Bryce Shoemaker in that group of cars that were split off over 6 seconds back. Jeff Wright will end up 7th with Ben Lafter in 8th. Dakota Floyd Remember, there was a big crash behind him. Eldon Stewart, a part of that, and the one got into the two of Reggie Ortega. Connor, you've got the rest of these results.
Yeah, it looked like the 2 and 57 kicked off that crash, but it only got a few of those guys in that second pack. Seth Hatchell didn't get a good end of that, not the finish he wanted. Usually a shoo-in for the top 10, ends up 11th. Christopher Hodges, didn't really talk about him a lot tonight, ends up 12th. Philip Brewer in that crash at the end as well, got 13th. Reggie Ortega 14th. And then J.R. Shepard lost the draft after the bad bump from the 2, the block from the 44. He never got a yellow to get back in this race, as so many others didn't get it either. He ends up 15th, not a good start to his chase run. Brandon Wallace 16th, Austin Belke 17th. Those two, Belke and Vaclavic 17th and 18th, lost the draft after pit stops. Vaclavic couldn't defend his win from last season, and Angelo Horonis did not get to the line. So unfortunate for him. He was right there to get a victory. Wasn't meant to be again. He ends up 19th, and then Matt Shanowski never got his yellow to get the lucky dog. He ends up 20th.
21st spot goes to Chuck Sweeting. He never got back on the lead lap, lost the end of the draft. Kenny Kibbe ends up 4 laps down, finishes under his own power, but damage in that first caution. And these cars off the racetrack with damage. The 07 of Tim Shanowski did end up coming back out on the racetrack, but then you have Keith Shoemaker, Caleb Wakely out early, Casey Lakatos, and Rob Hamp, and your 27 car field. But now it's time to take it down to victory lane, where the first driver we're going to talk to is going to be Elliott Butler in the number 6. He led 30 laps. I said 27. It was 30. You were just racking them up there at the end. And typically, when you see a driver out front at these super speedways in the closing laps in a 6-car breakaway, you're thinking, well, that guy's not winning the race. Even up here in the booth, we're guilty of it. Elliott, you knew exactly what to do, and you held on to it.
Yeah, man. We're on a hot streak here. This was fun. It was kind of riding for a little while, and then with like 10 to go, it was really obvious the pace was slowing down. They'd start falling back behind me, and I knew they were trying to get a run going. So my goal was just to keep the gap reasonable, so whatever run they did get would be blockable. I just got the block off, and I think Ray and Bailey got together a little bit, and that helped kill Angelo's momentum. I managed to side draft him back to me, and that was all she wrote.
You go back to that move where you kind of put that block. It was subtle, but you were able to kind of break that momentum of the outside line. Then drivers, it's just utter catastrophe at that point. That outside line falls apart. The big run for those drivers that had lagged back falls apart as well. They all start crashing behind you. I would guess that smile was 3 lanes wide coming across the tri-oval.
Dude, that I was yelling. It was I am excited. This is the first league run I've had in over 5 years. I took a break for a couple of years before I came back racing with these guys, and it's been a long time coming. It wasn't until like 3 weeks ago I broke the top 5, and now we're in victory lane. So I'm excited. This was a big one.
Finally, Elliott, you come into this chase format. You are in that chase format. This is going to catapult you a little bit because some drivers that were ahead of you didn't have the results. Of course, you had Angelo Horonis who was right behind you, but some of these guys didn't have the result that you had here tonight with this victory. How does that feel? Does that build your confidence going on to Homestead?
Yeah, that's great. It kind of was what I knew I had to do. I mean, this was a win or go home kind of race. I'm not a top 5 guy every week. I have some speed some weeks, and some weeks are just not my type of track. But if I can build a little cushion early, I can get consistent enough results to hold these guys off. So they better not let me get away, or I'll walk away with this thing. So I wouldn't count us out yet. I think this is going to be a fun run over the next few weeks.
Of the drivers that I mentioned, Kenny Kibbe, of course, not having a good finish. AJ Stavrato was not here tonight. Philip Brewer got crashed out there in that second group. J.R. Shepard had fallen out of the draft. So they're just to list a few names that had problems. And so you catapult a little bit up the points here. Wouldn't say officially, but I would say you're going to be somewhere around that 5th to 6th mark after it's all said and done. Congratulations again, though, on this victory. Elliott, is there anybody you want to shout out or thank?
Yeah, you guys for putting this on. I believe Dakota for sponsoring this race. I understand he had his grandmother passed, and it was dedicating this to her. So this Project Grace race was a lot of fun. Thank everybody for putting on, everybody watching, and looking forward to do this next week.
The caution that never came that kept this lead over 6.5 seconds for the 6-car breakaway, and Elliott Butler finds his way victorious. Congratulations again. We'll see you in 1 week's time when we go down to Homestead, Miami.
Thank you, sir. I'll see you then.
Elliott Butler in the number 6, leading 30 laps here today. Moving on to our second place finisher on pit road with Joshua Banks. Well, Josh, I tell you, this race, it was so many different things at one time. You had the variety of the caution there. You had a bunch of lead changing. You even had connection issues. For you personally, it was a variety of different attitudes and moods, and have to adapt continuously, and you found a way, still finding the podium second.
Oh yeah. So it wasn't the internet, it was the streaming freaking PC over here cutting off, and then the HDMI was just like going berserk, so it was cutting me in and out. So I just was like, all right, that's just great. And then thankfully it rallied, and at least the game it rallied and everything, and we had that caution. That's what put us back in. If we didn't have that, we would have been screwed. So without that, we wouldn't be sitting here for sure. So I'm just thankful we made it.
We're all at the mercy of technology, Joshua, and nobody understands that better than you here tonight. But when you talk about how this race could have went in a number of different ways, you had a 6-car breakaway and a lap car in there as well in the mix. You were sizing it up. I could tell you and Bailey had backed off. Now, what's your size? What do you think about that? Typically, if you're the leader on the white flag, you don't win this race.
Yeah, we were just talking, Bailey, Angelo, and I were in Discord. We were just talking. We were like, yeah, they were sitting ducks, Elliott and Ray. But hey, I will tell you now, Elliott proved us wrong. The sitting duck won the race. So it just, we were planning it. We were, talking it out, seeing what we needed to do, going through some different scenarios and seeing, okay, if this happened and try this, whatever. But we were sizing it up, man. We were ready to go. And Chad kind of screwed things up a little bit when he pushed it out wide, and that side suck pulled me back, and I was like, dadgummit. So couldn't really do much on my end to help. I tried to help Angelo on that last bit, but it just bad timing of the push and location of the push. It's just, that was a little tough, but it's a long, that was a long 20 laps to get to that final few laps though. We were just sitting there pacing, cruising, watching time tick away as the other pack was dropping, which was a sigh of relief. We'll be honest. We didn't have to worry about 20 cars going for a win. That was kind of nice.
Yeah, and the caution could have came out and ruined all of that. You guys were pulling out. I believe the end mark was about 6.7 seconds back to that second group, so you constantly made time. But ultimately, it's a second place. It's a runner-up. And Josh, how many times this season and 5 seasons before it have we talked to you in second place? It just always seems like somebody else is finding their way to victory lane.
Yeah, I know it, but props to Elliott for getting his first win in it, I think, in SNR. So at least since I've been racing with him, since he came back, it's awesome to see him in victory lane again. Because I know he's got speed. It's just, when you take time off, it takes a while to get the swing of things again and understanding the cars and the way the updates go and everything. So awesome to see him back in victory lane. But man, yeah, I know second place again. But if I had to be happy with second place, I'd be happy with it here at Dega or Daytona to an extent. I'd love the win. I'm not saying I wouldn't care if I didn't win or not, but if I had to be okay with the second place at somewhere, Talladega or Daytona would be the place. So
yeah,
I'm content.
Surviving
pretty
this
much.
place. Well, Josh, I know there's a lot of people that back you up, and you are a proud supporter of this league. And a special presentation here for the M&J Distributors in the Cup Series and SNR with Project Grace, of course, coming on board, and Dakota Floyd. So does anybody want to shout out?
We got to shout out, of course, Dakota Floyd and his family, and thoughts and prayers going up to him. I know what it's like. I've been through that myself with granddaddy passing away about a month ago or so. So I understand his what he's going through right now. So all thoughts and prayers go to him, and glad that the race that we've done tonight went green most of the way for the charity. So that was a good thing there. So shout out to them and thoughts and prayers. And then shout out to you guys up in the booth for putting on awesome show every week, and looking forward to this broadcast. I know it's a long run of just following the leaders, but it's still a good broadcast nonetheless. So thank you guys for what you do there. And then of course, all our sponsors, Walk and Rolling Costumes, Clark Print Shop, 29 Graphics, FireStorm Racing, JS Studios, and of course, M&J Distributors. So shout out to everybody being a part of this league. And hopefully, Talladega kicked it off with this chase, and the points are looking tight. These next few races are really going to see who's going to be the cream of the crop, and hopefully, 35 machine get this thing in either in victory lane or in championship victory circle. We'll see.
Could be the second driver to win 2 championships. Joshua Banks has that hopeful, and we'll see you next week at Homestead, Miami. Take care.
I appreciate it, bud. But just keep in mind, if I go to be the second guy to win the second championship, again, finishing second. So keep keeping the train rolling there.
Yeah, hey, that's still not too bad of a place to be, I think. But
I guess not.
Appreciate you coming up here and talking to us, Josh.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
There is the 35 in Joshua Banks. And one more driver to talk to. Connor Horn is caught up with Bailey Turner, your third place finisher.
Yeah, usually it's talking to him when he's running and winning races, not usually interviewing him when he gets P3, but even with only 2 laps led, it is a third place. Bailey unofficially 4 points out of the race, out of the points lead behind Elliott Butler. Just kind of ran out of time and didn't really have the room or the cars you needed. What else could y'all have done to get to the front at the end there, final lap?
Yeah, I mean, we were just scheming the whole last 25 laps or so. I think we played the strategy right, got to the front, and put ourselves in a good position there, and kept pushing to the front, and making sure that the second pack couldn't catch us, and started laying back. And Elliott said he saw us kind of laying back and prepping for the run, and I was trying to cool my car. And honestly, I think the thing that kind of ruined it for our team in general was Chad was smart enough to make his move pretty early, and it kind of stalled out Josh, and that was my help to help Angelo. And just me and Massey going for the same spot. Like, I felt like I started to go down a little bit right as he was trying to pinch me up, and unfortunately met in the middle and kind of took both of our chances away. So that was unfortunate, but net gain overall. Elliott did take the points lead, but only being 4 points back versus starting today 10 points back. You have to look at it as a net positive.
Definitely net positive in that sense for sure. It's kind of 2 seasons in a row we've had a spread out finish, possibly one ruined last season. This season it ended up being a spread out finish, and obviously had less cars today, so maybe the momentum was kind of different. The maneuver, how much different was it having really only 20 cars in the pack for majority of that race?
Yeah, I mean, being up front, I didn't notice too much of a difference, like you were saying. I felt like the cars are so unstable to push that it really kind of nullifies any momentum after a while. Like me and Jeff, I think were the best as far as hooking up with each other and going from, I think we were like, 15th or something at one point and pushed ourselves up to the lead. But it's just so much different than like a next gen or something like that. You can't slam draft. You can't, do anything like that. It just kills your momentum. So you really got to be patient and kind of time out the runs. And I mean, Connor, I think, I'm one of the more aggressive plate racers in the league, and felt like that's where I kind of make my bread and butter. And tonight was just all about patience. I mean, trying to put yourself in position, making sure you got the strategy right, and put yourself at the front at the end. And at this rate, you got such a short chase or playoff or whatever you want to call it that you can't afford a bad day. So like I said, I felt like I was more points racing there at the end, trying to make sure we got to the end, and was really committed to Angelo and wanted to get him his win in this league. He's had it for such a long time coming, and just heartbreak there at the end for the team. But like I said, net positive for me, net positive for Josh. We got a lot of competitive guys. If his internet holds up, he's never out of it. So it's going to be a tough battle to the end with everybody here.
And Horona's 15th in career start, still looking for that first win. Almost got it, not quite the case. Let's shift the focus to the chase again. Once again, second in points, 4 behind Elliott Butler, but compared to some championship competitors, potentially 8 ahead of Joshua Banks, 9 ahead of Kenny Kibbe, still, I believe, 12 ahead of Jeff Wright, 13 ahead of Seth Hatchell. You have, obviously, AJ Stravado wasn't here tonight, probably out of the picture. We have 2.5 miles, differently shaped. You have the short track at Bristol, and then you have the 2-miler at Michigan. You're at a pretty good spot points-wise to try to get another championship. Where do you think your pace stands for the rest of the season trying to finish the deal?
Yeah, I feel like I'd make the argument I've kind of been the, honestly, 3rd through 5th pace-wise all season. I think, I've spoken with you about my struggles with the tire and the 1.5 miles where I feel like I'm doing my best to save tires and be patient for the long run, but they just aren't paying off. It seems like guys like Kenny and Philip, like they're so good on the short run and manage to still keep the pace throughout the entirety of the run that I'm still trying to figure that out. But like you said, we got a short track on there. I love Michigan. Michigan has been really good to me over the years. So I like my chances. If we can put together some solid finishes there at Homestead, Kansas, those kind of races where that's where I feel like my struggle has been this season, I think we can make a good run at it. But like I said, I mean, you guys, we got Josh, Jeff, Kenny, like all these guys are so good on 1.5 miles that I'm definitely have to be on my A game.
Definitely have to be on your A game. You at least did one good thing. You're still the leader in top 5s across the entire season, across the entire league, and inch closer to that point lead with another top 3 finish. Bailey, thanks for talking to us. Anyone else you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, everybody over there at Sad Boys. We were missing AJ and my partner there, Adam, on the super speedways. I had to make sure to let him know that every time we finish 1-2, I'm still beating him every single time. So, but no, yeah, everybody over there, you guys on the broadcast, obviously, so sorry and condolences to Dakota and his family. I'm glad that we were able to do something nice for them and do the whole donation thing tonight. So, yeah, looking forward to next week and talking to you guys again.
P3 for Bailey Turner tonight, and right up there in the standings. Thanks for talking to us. We will see you in Miami.
Appreciate it.
There you have it, your top 3 finishers here at Talladega. It was a very crazy and exotic race, but even condensed down. It was a variety of everything. What makes it crazy, it was the first chase race, and you gain 8 positions to catapult yourself to the points lead going into Homestead, Miami. I mean, if you're Elliott Butler right now, you got to be in disbelief.
I mean, sky's the limit, I would say, for sure. We kind of saw it last season at Richmond. Kenny Kibbe, he was good all season last season, but he was never really a championship threat until we got to the chase. He got that first win, catapulted to the points lead, the points picture, and he almost stole one kind of from Jeff Wright at the end. Didn't ultimately end up being what happened, but certainly vaulted himself into the picture just like Elliott Butler just did. Once again, those wins are 13 points more valuable than his second place finish, so winning matters, and it's going to be the guy probably in the chase who wins the most races that wins the championship. And Elliott Butler took a pretty big step towards that, but he still got so many big guys behind him. Bailey Turner's only 4 back, then Banks, Kibbe, Jeff Wright, Seth Hatchell, even Philip Brewer, they're all still right there. You still have about 8 drivers that can win the title, just a matter of how all the chips fall.
Yeah, it's still going to be tight going into Florida, and that is next week. Homestead Miami Speedway. You see the playoff banner? We're not running that anymore. I'm so glad that that's gone. We never ran it here.
Elliott Butler just made it to Kansas.
Yeah, we never did it here, but for all of NASCAR in the history, this is the format that I enjoyed the most, and I know a lot of guys want to get back to the classic, just run it and you're done. But this is the proper format. Homestead Miami Speedway, the 1.5 mile racetrack. It's got a few makeovers over the years, but what's ultimately looking very Miami is those green and pink barriers down there on pit road. It's a beautiful racetrack. Connor, I'm excited for next week.
Should be a pretty fun one for sure. Homestead Miami, very multi-grooved. You can usually run the wall. We'll see a lot of drivers up there. Should be a pretty good one.
Connor's starting to lose his voice, and so am I. You can catch us here July 18th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Catch all the racing here, all the way to the season finale for Saturday Night Racing League Season number 6. Chase Race number 2 coming at you in just a moment's time. Again, you can check out the links in the description for the Project Race 250 here from Talladega. But that's going to do it for us. For everybody at VSPEED to help make this possible. Adam Baker in the background for everything he does. Running Tuesday nights in BTDY. We have Eddie Smith for everything at Goat Locker. Morgan Cook for everything at Mystic Racing. Logan Threlkill for being our resident Santa. This is Bradley Cooper saying so long from Talladega Super Speedway. Stay tracking, everybody.